Well, the cattail is a very popular craft, cattail doll. Cattail has many, many uses. We have cattail here that was harvested at its best time, being first thing in the leaves turn brown in the fall. You gather it and keep it in order so that you can put it into a bag. When the cattail is dried, it'll store for a long time. If you want to make a cattail doll, this would be called standard, pretty well average type of cattail. The first part of the doll is the construction of the brain, which is rolled up. If you are working with kids, you often use a nut of some sort, and then you can control the size, because the doll, two dimensions on the doll, your head is 7 times your height, and the distance between your fingers is how tall you are. So there's perhaps a sufficient amount of a ball to make the core of the head. The head is then covered until it can't be seen, and this is a doll that is made fairly quickly, so we will create a hood effect before we complete the head. Systematically keep covering the ball. Then we find a good broad leaf as the last leaf to put on to simulate your hood, which can be pulled off later to be a downed hood. And then we bind the neck. The knot that is used for the binding is called whipping. You take a fold and you keep track of the handle, make an eye, put the eye under the thumb, and wrap tightly once or twice. Sometimes you want it bulky because it's a winter dress. You might not want it very bulky. The eye that you made previously, after a few wraps, you thread it through, and you then pull it tight, and the head part is done, and the core of the doll. Now the head will be 1/7 the height, so you go 7 units and trim it off, and there you have the right height for the doll that has that size of head. The next thing is the arms. Now the most conventional arms are twisted. Usually you have to use 2 cattail cores to make up the arms, and you put them on here 3 or 4 times the length of the doll, and you twist the arms. And generally this will have to be 3.5 heads long, which probably 6 twists, and then we say 1, 2, 3, and there it is. That's one arm. Wrap it so that it won't unravel. The second arm, take 1/4 longer. The position you start twisting, twist towards the second arm to the first arm. And the second arm, you don't actually have to count, because you just twist until they meet. To give some bulk, if this is a girl doll, we sometimes wrap this so that a bit of a bosom is created. And then you part the body of the doll, and now you're left with coat. You can find that perhaps 2 cattails over each shoulder, depending on which way you could put these leaf by leaf. Or whatever. There are ways of using the cattail in a very conservative manner where you can get a lot more dolls, but when you are moving and trying to make a doll as quickly as possible. So for the second time we whip, taking a strong leaf, again make an eye, Put it under the thumb, keep track of the handle, wrap as tightly as you can. If you want to give some shape to the doll, use more leaves. A lot of people often quit too soon with the amount of leaves they put over the shoulder. This is the doll with the dress. Trim it to length. And some of the leaves might either be snipped off. You might give the doll some shape by bending at the waist, bending at the knees, make the knees come close to the nose. When you straighten the doll a little bit, you have a basic cattail doll. Here we have the doll we have just made that is the basis for all the other dolls, and the variation is built on this. Here we have the doll we have just made that is the basis for all the other dolls, and the variation is built on this. Here is the common one with the broom, the braids, no feet. She's sweeping. She has a hood and a kind of a simulated apron. Here is doll with feet, and more complex. The man doll is usually made with feet. The Clementine, the feet are made and anchored over the shoulders. A common doll is the angel at Christmas time. Also the kitchen witch, which we don't have here. The traditional dolls. Here we have a doll with the backpacker, the Roycroft pack frame. It's got the axe strapped on, the walking staff, the detail of the pack made with twisted cord and bound on, the 3 sticks, and the sweep with the broom, and the dustpan, little old lady who's smoking a pipe with a hood that's been taken off the head, bun for hair. The warrior, the Chinese warrior perhaps. You have the spear, the bow is slung, there are arrows, and a quiver made out of coppersnip, and arrows with little fletching made with birch bark. The sword on the side. The woodsman, the buck saw with the twisted string to tension the blade, the axe going off to the woods to harvest lumber. Many of the dolls have got old man's beard for hair, and a braided headband to keep the hair in place, or whatever as one's style. We have the archer at full draw. We have the quiver again made out of cow parsnip, and with stitching with a long needle. We have long needles that you can buy if you know where to look, and with them you can put stitches in all kinds of awkward places. Of course, you might even choose to use a hot glue gun to do a lot of detail, but if you're a purist and you don't want to use a hot glue gun, then you probably will go with the needle. And the needle is long because then you can take your stitches through any direction, start at the bottom, come out the head, etc., and make very complex dolls. Here is the fellow going out into the field to cut hay, the rake to rake the hay, and the scythe, the old-fashioned scythe, as I used to see my father use in the fields. He used to build these rakes. Then there is the samurai. He has in this case, the bokken, I would say, and he's carrying the sickle fighting tool and the small sword and the grappling rope and so on. So this is, the sky is the limit. There's probably hundreds of dolls that you can make in the sense of using your imagination once you get the gist of it. Here's a doll that took minutes to make, a very fundamental, simple doll. Arms are as the fingertip to fingertip is how tall you are. The head is 1/7 the height, so for the doll to look right. We have many variations. This is the doll that is the most commonly made. You can see you've got a broom, has braids, has feet, which the simpler one doesn't. And you will find that if you refer to a certain booklet that deals with the making of the dolls, that it also covers the ornament that you would use at Christmas time as the Cattail angel. Now, the booklet that's titled the Simple Cattail Doll, which I wrote many years ago. I started making dolls at a time when it was difficult to find any information. Now there is various sources you can get, but this is a compact booklet and published by Karamat. It's www.karamat.com, Tamarack spelled backwards. The booklet is one of a series. The booklet will give you ideas as to where to look for the cattail that is going to work the best, because only maybe one swamp in 10 or 20 has the suitable cattail, and how to put it into bundles where you can put that bundle into a plastic bag so you can soak the cattail down before you're going to use it, because the leaves have to be soft and supple for you to be able to make such things in such detail as you see here. But I am sort of known for cattail doll crafting in the outdoor education movement. So if you're looking for the name, Morris Kochanski, and again, www.karamat.com carries these if you're wondering where you can locate this information.